So then it's all like, whoa, and then they're like, get down, and then it's like, whoosh, and then, whoo, and then it's all, ah! Deepwater Horizon, directed by Peter Berg and starring Mark Wahlberg, is about the disaster that caused the 2010 oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, if you're familiar with Peter Berg, which most people aren't, I wasn't until I looked him up later, he's the director of movies like Hancock and Battleship, which both, quite frankly, sucked. I wasn't really expecting much. I didn't really expect him to do a good job kind of showing it, I don't know. I guess because all of those other movies were bad, I expected this one to be bad. But quite honestly, I was blown away. This is one of the best shot movies I've seen in a long time. It really captured everything really intensely, and through the whole movie I was just on the edge of my seat. So I've been talking a long time about how movies should blend practical and special effects. It kind of creates a more realistic environment. It does CGI where it needs to, but also kind of shows real things. And this is a perfect example of when it works. There were some scenes where I was sitting in the theater just like, wow. It had the most beautiful cinematography. There's one scene, I'm not gonna give away too much, like talk about the specifics of what made it awesome, because I don't want to spoil it, but there's scenes where like you'll see a big explosion happen and it's just beautifully done. You'll see just everything just so beautifully shot, and it looks realistic. And it did another thing which a lot of disaster movies don't do. A lot of disaster movies will do the thing where it'll just kind of show things generally, or just it won't really go into detail, but this movie didn't do that. It showed everything in specifics. It really went into detail. It showed, like, if there's an explosion, if a character's hit by something, you really see it. You see them fly across the room, you see everything going down, and I thought that was really cool. Just when that whole scene where everything's going wrong, I was just sitting in the theater with the biggest fucking grin on my face. It was just beautifully shot. I was looking at people around me. People were just like people literally had their hands over their mouths like through the whole movie. The whole movie was shit your pants intense, and that's something rarely seen in these movies. It just had everyone on one hell of a ride the whole time. While I did love this movie, there are some flaws like every movie, so it would be a mistake not to go over them. Like, there's some scenes with kind of forced dialogue, weird exposition. One example I want to think of, there's a scene that was kind of unnecessary. They're all in a helicopter going to the oil rig, and you just hear this boom! And it turns out this pelican just hit the side, and they're all like, bird strike, oh, whatever. It was just completely unnecessary, kind of out of nowhere. But it honestly made up for those flaws. I mean, there were some scenes I was kind of like, oh, that's weird. And then I was so blown away by the movie, however, that I didn't really seem to care. There was, like, when you would hear one thing of forced exposition, weird dialogue, it would be immediately followed by something kind of awesome. And, like, even in the beginning, when the disaster's not happening, you'll hear some lines of dialogue that are actually funny, which you don't see a lot of movies. In serious movies, they'll actually make you laugh, and most of the audience was laughing. And there was some kind of great moments. There's one moment where he asks him everything that's wrong with the rig. He's like, just name one. I bet you can't even name one. And Mark Wahlberg goes in this whole long list of like everything that's wrong, and it was just funny, and it worked. And I feel like the movie had a lot more moments that worked than didn't, and it kind of outweighs it. Overall, I'd have to give Deepwater Horizon a 10 out of 10. I know I'm going to get a lot of shit for that, but it honestly was a great movie, and while I don't believe it was perfect, I think it deserved that 10. What I sincerely believe is a 10 is a movie that has its problems, but kind of makes up for it, and where it's so good that any problem can be easily overlooked. So I honestly think it deserves a 10. Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in next week for... I don't know what I'm doing next week. Fuck. Thanks for watching. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.